fourth wall here a little bit. Both teams are showing their personalities in the chat here. Totally unable to tell what they ended up hero banning. I have absolutely no idea.
I
So
think
we're
there
gonna see.
might
I mean,
not be a ban. Oh no. Yeah, a lot of words in this chat. So unsure what they went in with this ban.
We'll
But
have peace at
character
any
is
cost.
in on the
I've always wanted to make Aurora.
Get
pilgrimage to the Shambhala
selected.
Monastery.
Coming in from the New Haven side, we're opening up with Ramatra, May,
Hello.
Symmetra, Juno,
For the moment, we
Jericho
have,
composition. And it looks like it's very similar on the side of Purdue, with that Ramatra at least, and now the Juno, but they're going with Zenyatta, McCree, and Onron. Now both teams here are probably wanting to play very fast. And we see that teleporter come out of New Haven, allowing them to get that position they wanted. The May here. And as I say that, Genesis goes
Unacceptable.
yeah, I mean that first pick is gonna be a little bit rough. You see the Onron taking a little bit of a wide route throughout that. And as that pick goes down, as New Haven backs up onto the point, you see Onron just eating up all that space and getting up. It's a quick dive and totally finishes the job.
Despite the win condition for New Haven is a wall here. They need to wall this Ramatra and really do that damage. So
You are safe with me.
Was a very split fight and a very back and forth fight there.
Yeah, I mean, so far what I'm seeing is just Purdue's going to keep their presence up in the front line. They're going to dare UNH to do anything about it. They're going to wait it out, see if UNH does. If they doesn't, I mean, I just need something out of these engages from UNH.
Wow, opening up early in the deck, early pick on the sticks. And another one on the back. And it almost looked like those picks that came in before the battle even begun.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really even much to say. It's kind of a little bit of the same thing happening and again. We're going to see this Onron come in, probably try and solidify the job here. I'm not sure if UNH is going to get any sort of a touch here. Blizzard out, but they're just not able to
Into the
Wow. Honestly, that point picked up much faster than I was even expecting. It looked like at one point New Haven had a very strong hold, but Purdue came in and just held it tight.
Greetings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not really much to say from the side of UNH. I need to see engages that are doing something to this Ramatra because, I mean, we've got the Ramatra Cassidy contingent probably in the front lines. Onron's off creating her own space. You've got to put pressure on them. Try to do something to open up space, maybe shut down this Onron in as a result. We're going to see a jetpack come out from the side of Purdue. Little trickery maybe, but they're sticking on the Symmetra for Dennis.
Cat coming in and bringing in the enemy Onron and quick cut! Oh, perfect move. They teleporter. Gets that hit on that banana that I bet they need it. Go in with that. This is going to allow New Haven to put a lot of pressure. It's still on the bridge. Winton taking some time to heal up pushes in against Kitty and is trying to reclaim his bridge. The rest of his team a little bit more. Chasing down member after member. That was decisive.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm going to try to break this fight down to a couple of different phases. We've got our neutral here. We're both tanks are just kind of shooting at each other, and we've got advantage, disadvantage. I'm seeing people fall from the side of New Haven before we even get out of the neutral stage. I mean, we've got to make something happen before we just end up losing, before fights really even start. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a poor response to pressure from the side of New Haven. We see the Dom and the rest of the team completely separate from that capacity. And that was it right there.
Oh no, Jetpack Pat. Mercy EM E-Girl goes in. After the battle is over, she takes a member of the Make way. Very strong pull here from Purdue. Kitty using the Ramatra form early. Rush comes out.
Well, they've had this point before. They've had control over the bridge. We're going to have to see if they maybe have a little bit more of a solid hold here. I mean, they've got the May. They are switched to Adventure, so maybe that helps with a little bit of the comfort, with a little bit of timing. But that's what's going to be most important here is that synergy in the front line.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming into this next fight, we have a lot of
Unacceptable.
back on the side of the game, but a couple also on Purdue as well. That Ramatra also very impactful here. Hopefully they'll be able to combat it with Juno off. Wall comes out early from the side of New Haven. And Purdue begins to push in. Onron in. And is able to get a pick with
I'll have my people
I mean, I
clean
liked
that
what I
up.
saw. I usually, so far from what I've seen, I would like a little bit more offensive May walls. However, that defensive one kept them in the fight, kept them at their own pace, allowed Denizen, it allowed Winston to get on the same page and just completely overtake the enemy team.
Yeah, absolutely. We're posturing for the next fight here. Still a good amount of ults on New Haven's side, but now Purdue has a couple more to respond. Fight is beginning out here. Picks up the green behind you and is able to get it onto
Plotting out the dig site.
But it looks like Purdue just edged.
They're on the
ahead
objective.
considering
Push them out.
This point, while there is 10% back, I don't see a pathway forward for success on the New Haven side.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see the end of the clock tick down here. Phoenix just to kind of put the cherry on the top here of this match. I think what we ended up seeing was a little bit of one of those classic roll situations where you don't find anything out at the start if you keep losing in neutral. What's so bad about that isn't just losing, but you're unable to test yourself against these pressure situations, and I think because we haven't really seen anything out of it, once we saw that Cassidy ultimate, once we saw these crazy plays coming out
Keep
from
your
Purdue,
distance.
I just don't think UNH had the composure to have an answer, or the experience for that matter.
Yeah, it was interesting. We did see a lot of fights dissolve into a bit of chaos. We saw a lot of early picks, right? So this is something where individual play is going to have the most impact over anything else in these type of games. And we saw it coming out from Purdue. We saw a lot of early picks before the fight began, leaving New Haven in a disadvantageous position going into the fights. We're going to see if they could recoup, maybe try a different strategy, play a little bit closer, and take back this next map.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to hammer this one home throughout the whole entire match. But we said at the start before the game, this frontline synergy is going to be the key here. Sticks and Slasher, I believe, are going to do a fine job of keeping the front line up. It's going to be up to Denizen, Kami, Winton, not to have, these sparkling moments, but to be able to be smart enough to work together on the same page in order to get the most out of each other, because I'm just not sure how else they're going to be able to move forward. I
Yeah.
think we saw it on that one Lijiang point that they won to get themselves to 99. I think we saw a great push from Denizen, Kami, and Winton on the same page, but honestly, for the rest of the match, I just didn't see it.
Yeah, and it looks like the map pick is going to be Atlas from New Haven. From my understanding, we were supposed to be going to Hybrid next, so there might be some confusion here, but that looks like it is the preferred map for New Haven. Now, we did see some unique plays there. We did see some unique compositions, but beyond just individual play, thinking about win conditions for the composition that you're playing. If you're going to go in with the Mei, you have to focus those walls. And honestly, a Mei into a Ramatra comp, it could be good, but again, that Ramatra has form for that sustain. He has block for the damage mitigation. And if you don't even have the follow-up, there might be no reason even to play Mei for the walls there. So it's something to think about in these games, the win condition going in. It looks like we will be going to Atlas. This opens up the opportunity for a little bit of a quicker composition on this Flashpoint game mode. I could see Ramatra working here as well, but I don't think New Haven is going to prefer it going in.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Atlas as one of the maps during the scrim that we viewed, but unfortunately, Winton was not the main tank during that. So I'm not really sure what experience there is to take out of that. I mean, I think for the most part, this is going to be relatively brand new. We're probably going to see everyone on their same roles regarding any sort of surprise. But this is going to be super, super high fast map. We are going to have to see a team that is comfortable with engaging, disengaging, staying on the same page throughout, not losing each other, while having to adapt as quickly as these flashpoints and especially Atlas maps operate.
Absolutely. And the first ban coming in from New Haven is Onron. And that one makes sense. In the last game we just viewed, the last series, there was a couple bans where they were being speculative. They were thinking about the compositions going into each map, even if they didn't see much of it from the enemy team. Here, they were getting distracted more than anything by that Onron, and a ban just makes sense, in my opinion, coming out of New Haven.
To some extent, I'd agree. I mean, you hammered home the individualized play style of Purdue. I do worry, though. I mean, is Onron not just going to be a substitute for maybe an Echo, a Tracer, somebody else who's just going to... I mean, if the issue is distracting, I don't know if one ban is going to really solve what seems like a team issue.
I don't think it will solve it, but at this rank and this level of play, from what I was seeing in that map, the Onron was just taking so many resources out of the hands of New Haven and so much focus, when really the focus should have been on supporting their Ramatra and keeping the push moving forward. And I don't think even really an Echo or a Genji or anything takes that place of what Onron does at this rank at this time. Now, we are moving into Atlas, and it looks like the ban coming out of Purdue is Domina. Very interesting. We did see a bit of Domina play there, correct?
We did, yeah, absolutely.
And it was something where it was really one way or the other. I think more than the Domina being the critical issue, it was that team play going into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I really wanted to break this down, I didn't love their composition in the first point. Domina, May. I don't know. I just don't really see, especially the way they were playing, how that fits together, especially with a Symmetra and what eventually ended up being a Venture. I think maybe this is a good chance for them to create a composition that better allows these three in the front line to stick together and work to each other's benefit.
We must find hope in the impossible.
Players are loaded into the map. We're going to transition into the game and take a look at both teams' comps here. Now, on the New Haven side.
Watch your flanks. They might try something.
Sigma. Very interesting. A little bit slower pace here than the platform. But in support of that Sigma, we have Kami on Bastion. If this plays well, this could be a very good comp to go into Kitty TG on that Ramatra. Damaging him out, forcing him to use his abilities, and playing together could be the winning scenario here for New Haven. We're quickly moving into first point here, and we're going to quickly see exactly how it goes. Purdue taking
Well, we're going to see them play in the front.
yeah, absolutely. Purdue taking a quick flank around, forcing New Haven to move around, but Dennison with a quick hack and pick onto Mercy and a kill. With that, it looks like Winston is pushing up and getting some great blocks onto the front line of Purdue, but is kicked out.
Yeah, I mean, enemy here. It's going to be up to Bash to keep the pressure up, keep them off until Winston is able to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And Purdue is taking the fight here. Kami getting a pick onto the enemy McCree here. And with Sigma back, Winton pressuring them from the right side. They have two fronts that they are being attacked on, and because of it, they get pressured out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of joked about it earlier in Lijiang, but we are kind of seeing a bit of like a brawl Sigma. This is the front line I was talking about. You see Kami as fast, using all of the pressure, really determining the pace, allowing him to press up that Sigma and put that pressure on his ability with his spears, and this is exactly what we wanted to see.
Next fight, a bomb coming out the front, taking down Bob Matthew, and in turret forms and dealing damage upon damage onto the enemy team. Winton taking this opportunity to push up and get a couple of kills on the support line, but might get punished for it. No, support comes in, can't come up, and New Haven takes the first point of Flashpoint.
I mean, I love it. I absolutely love what we've seen so far from these front three. It's a dominant first point. I would be a little bit concerned over maybe how the other points play with this Sigma. But really, so far, I love what I'm seeing.
But still, they are away now in a battle on the point of trying keeping Kitty up and able to use that remote off to get into the back line of New Haven. In response, a Sigma
Enemy spotted.
that was messy, that was dirty, and that's what we've been seeing in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a failure from Purdue, honestly. You see Winton on the right side of Sigma just completely separated from Kami on those stairs. Bot Matthew tries to put a little bit of pressure on the Bash. It does not even
Actuating the barrier.
and slowly they don't end up punishing this split.
Now Winton playing pretty far ahead from his team here. Still in line of sight of support. Purdue coming in. Again, split a bit with Banana Zest trying to take an off angle here. I don't dislike it. Rush comes in from but a nano comes out on the Ramatra, and with Kizzy's from Purdue, they're able to make it on the point, not before Banana Zest. On Purdue is very,
About to wind down, we see Genji Blade come out. It's going to be a little bit too little too late, and honestly, maybe a little concerning that they don't have that going into the next fight. At first, I loved how Purdue kited that Kiriko path, staying out of the sights of Bastion, forcing Winton to push up as Sigma, but they just weren't really able to capitalize at all. They use a ram push up to try and push on this Winton, but the split of UNH is just not really something
Unlocks in 10 seconds.
Next battle, beginning. It looks like we're opening up with another Bastion on here. Getting a pick this time on the Banana Zest.
Enemy appeared. Proclaiming a barrier. Burning brighter than
Over here!
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see Bomb Matthew try and get a TP flank, contest Kami while Kami is ulting, but it's a kill that's just too little too late. The rest of the team, unfortunately, goes down by the time that the Reaper gets onto the point. He's just going to have to TP out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now they're getting ready for this next fight here. It looks like
They're coming!
half five after
be warned.
back in. Onto Bob Matthew is what they need. And another one comes in. And with that, another very spread out fight. But the big coming in from New Haven.
Yeah, I mean, this is funny. This is exactly what we were talking about with this front line. The Reaper completely separated from the Ramatra, just completely pulling and pushing in different directions, instantly gets taken out, and there's just not really much else to put pressure on this Bastion or Sigma from that point on.
Purdue, and they don't touch. They couldn't touch. It was all but over. But wow, New Haven turning that around from Lijiang.
Play.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think if this is what they need to do, then they should just go ahead and do it. Regarding a shield tank, a shield cloak tank, and a Bastion of that nature, I just loved what I saw from the front line. I loved how together they were in terms of just really going for the same objective at the front of the Purdue side. That last point, tried to get a touch on the Ram ult, but they just got melted down. The Flux forces out the barrier, and as they all just peel out of that last room there going on to the point, the Bastion's just going to gun them all down with all their resources gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was something where that Sigma ult on the last point, forcing that beat out early, was incredibly impactful. Now, they had ultimates on the side of New Haven, but that beat would have given Purdue the chance to move out of that corridor, get on point, and spread out and have an all-out brawl. But because that Sigma ult comes out and gets 3, absolutely changes the course of that fight.
Yeah, and I mean, look, there were multiple times I saw Sigma pushing in very aggressively, Bastion going on a different angle. I do want to commend both Styx and Slasher for keeping both of them up in sometimes some troublesome waters.
Getting some damage
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing all of it. Fight after
Yeah,
fight.
and
Slasher getting those headshots in and confirming those kills.
yeah, I mean, I think, the Reaper switch was maybe a push in the right direction for Purdue, but just completely stifled at every opportunity from the side of UNH. Yeah, I mean, what I'm looking at here is some compositions that either team was much more comfortable with on the maps that they ended up winning. So this is going to be a really interesting third point. We're going to see what the counterpoint is, what these bans are, and see if either of them can prove that maybe they could be effective on some compositions other than what they showcased here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kyle, walk me through what you think when you think of a Ramatra Sigma matchup. I feel like it really does lean towards that Ramatra. Walk over the Sigma, get into the back line. He really can't do anything. But that's not what we saw.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I understand maybe it's a little hard to walk over a tank when you've got a Bastion shooting a trillion bullets at
True.
you on the other side. Um, I don't know. I think I was really disappointed, and I'm not sure how many times I'm going to end up keep saying this. I was really disappointed with the front line coordination from the side of Purdue here, especially between that Reaper and Ramatra. I think that, they really could have helped each other to push either the Sigma back, overtake them, or even just walk past and go, once you force that rock out, go straight to the Bastion. Didn't really feel like we saw either. I think I saw both of them pulling in different directions, choosing one when the other chose the other. And that's something they're going to have to fix going into these next fights, especially if Kami's going to stay on this Bastion.
Yeah, the Kami Bastion did a lot of damage onto that Ramatra, and it's exactly what you need to see. Ramatra has that sustain, especially if he's getting healed during his block, but damaging him out, finalizing those kills, really put it into New Haven's favor. Now, I'm getting word that we will be going to Midtown, the selection of Purdue, and they will be banning Kiriko. And now, Kyle, is this not an exact response to the incredible aim of Slasher X47?
No, I don't think so. I think it's really just about the sustain on that Bastion, especially when we saw Bastion and Sigma separated, going to different angles. You need to be able to run over one or the other. I think they tried to choose the Bastion plenty of times, and they were just unable to do so with the Kiriko Suzu, with the healing coming out from both sides.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
assuming that's what this is about.
Yeah, and on the New Haven side, we are going to be seeing a ban of Sojourn coming out. And I think that's a good ban, especially on Midtown. There's a lot of there's a lot of chokes, allowing Sojourn to build up that charge, do a lot of poke, and then a lot of open areas where you could use that charge and get some amazing kills. Walk me through your thoughts on that Sojourn ban.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is exactly what you talked about earlier regarding individualized gameplay. Sojourn is just someone who's going to pump out a lot of damage, and is someone who's going to try to get a ton of picks. I mean, they're going to play with their team. They're not going to do a ton in terms of defining how a fight is going to go. They're just going to put up a ton of damage, and if that's what you want to avoid, I guess I understand it. It's a safe pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very interested to see the compositions from both teams coming out here on Midtown. Very different from both maps
Select your hero.
seen today, Lijiang Tower and Atlas. This is, of course, hybrid. It has a lot more closed-in corridors, while also opening up to far-ranged sight lines, offering a lot of different compositions all throughout the map, and maybe some player favorites that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to see as we open up here in just a couple of seconds. I believe we are going to see on then. We're going to see an on
This city
right
is
back
always
after
so
she ends up
noisy.
getting banned.
Why was traffic even invented?
Yeah, that Bastion Sigma comp, it worked in their favor. They really ran over Purdue there in a lot of those fights, and they want to try it again. And this first point Midtown makes it work. This is a perfect place to continue that comp. Now, second point, if they lose this, I'm less confident. There's a lot more flanking routes, there's a bit more cover in some areas, and there's the possibility of getting dived on very easy. On this Purdue side, though, they're really sticking to it. They're sticking with that Ramatra and that on-Ron McCree.
Well, I mean, Donasign's going to end up choosing this Zenyatta here. It's a pretty default comp for what I'm saying. It certainly isn't a bad thing. I think one thing we both failed to mention here is Denizen really making it hard to push onto a Sigma when you've got a Bastion shooting you with these hacks. We're going to have to see if maybe they can overcome it. But an instant
Does it
res
again.
coming out.
The Slasher does it again with an insta-pick while still on support, causing that res to come out from Purdue. Now we got a sneaky backline kill here from Dennison while getting out. All wow.
A threat emerges.
Looks like we have a fever, so we are going to pause and return to the 2-box as we once again give some time to these teams. Kyle, that is exactly what I wanted to see from New Haven.
Yeah, I mean, look, I tried to get it in there because it was bothering me that I hadn't mentioned Denizen and the Sombra gameplay there, because I think that is a very important part of what they're trying to do here. And that's exactly what happens. It's a little bit different than maybe how we had mentioned it earlier, but that Sombra's going to go over the top, force them into that train, and they're just going to get sandwiched by the Bastion on the other side and Denizen on the 1. It's instantly going to get you a couple picks. Totally shuts down that first fight.
Another point, looking at that on-run on the side of Purdue, she really has nothing to go in on. There's no real squishies on the side of New Haven. Obviously can't dive Bastion or Sigma. Juno has a lot of movement abilities to get out of that E and initial shift in from the on-run. Ana has her sleep and nade, and Sombra probably isn't anywhere near where you want to dive. So it really makes that pick almost invaluable.
Yeah, I mean, they banned Kiriko. We're going to see Juno as what is essentially just like a Kiriko replacement.
Yeah, I would think
for
so.
UNH. Effectively, it's going to do the same thing here for Onron's side. I mean, you're not going to have cleanse, I guess, but I mean, you see, she lights the Bastion on fire. It doesn't really accomplish much. I mean, we're going to be interested if we see maybe a switch here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, right before the pause, we saw Bot Matthew switching from that Cassidy to that Widowmaker. And again, that's a pick that, in my eyes, is concerning. You have Sigma Shield. You have Bastion, who you can't one-shot, and the supports are going to be behind all of that. I'm hoping he swaps back there, because without it, this might be a very uphill battle for Purdue. We did just get Mercy GM Girl back, so the game should be resuming shortly. Kyle, this is concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they listened in on your talk about individualized gameplay here from Bot Matthew. I just don't see it. I mean, you know, when it comes to Widowmaker, sometimes you get surprised. Sometimes it's a very individualized experience. I'm not sure what we're gonna see though, honestly. If anything, I feel bad for this Ramatra and the support that it doesn't look like he's gonna get.
And just to add insult to injury, you're playing Widow and Onron with a Zenyatta on your team too. You need to have that damage to capitalize on those Zenyatta discords. You're never going to be able to melt through Sigma and Bastion without it. Now, we got the 5th player of Purdue back, and we're moving back into the game here. And it looks like all that speculation...
Actuating the barrier.
You have a good confidence that which I do like in this time. It isn't perfect, but at this range, it's going to open up a lot of lanes, and it does. It seems to take really going to open up this
Yeah, I mean, that's a rough position coming out from Dennison trying to get a hack. He's going to open up past the choke line here. We're going to see Vendetta can continue to make some moves.
isolated, but gets a huge block.
Denizen comes back from spawn faster than Spawn Matthews expected. Most faster than I expected. Gets the hat onto him, and that rock is going to finish.
What made everything go so much in the next fight. Purdue very close together, a lot of here, allowing take, but now the die comes in on to Kami, who is very, very low. And in return, New Haven having to back up leaves Winton to die. The battle is now moving to the point. New Haven backing up past it, and it looks like this will be the point secured, which really should have happened last fight.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see Onron and Sombra battling it out on the right side. Sombra's going to have to translocate out. You see Kami getting pressured on the dash and battling all the Dark Soul straight onto Winton. He just gets popped instantly, and that's going to spell the end.
The payload.
Absolutely. Now the second fight is going to be a bit harder, but more just establishing these flanking routes and that Onron immediately flanking with Mercy and ult. If they open up with it, while they still have it ability coming out, but it's hitting Anderson on the death.
Barrier has been overwhelmed. Barrier cannot withstand much more.
They might look for a quick recon test here with Sombra still coming back.
Absolutely, but on the side of New Haven, off the board, this is going to be a bloodbath.
Actuating the barrier. Return to me.
First off comes out. On to Bot Matthew. Almost took him down, but while that was going on, Winton let his guard down and got kicked out. All that's left is Dennison and Slasher, who are backing up. Honestly, I thought New Haven had that in the bag there.
Yeah, I mean, with these Haymaker fights, you've really got two choices at the very least. You'd hope to do both. You're either going to plan around the ultimates you're going to use here to engage and wipe out, or you're going to plan around the ultimates the enemy team has. I don't really see either coming out from New Haven. They're going to walk out.
Getting an early pick here. Winton pushing up, using that advantage. He takes out the Vendetta, who is ultimate as well. And that is for Purdue. Backing up and even
The results are
Mr. Monster die? No, he'll get out with the help of a Mercy Pocket. And honestly, not too many ults used there at all. On the New Haven side, it was only the Juno ult? Yeah, they must have the Juno ult. And from Purdue, only the Vendetta ult.
Yeah, I mean, we're still going to see more of the powerhouse coming in here. We still got ult coming out. Trey is looking at ult to get some pressure on the Sigma team low. He uses his ability to get back up and get Nano. I mean, that's just brutal, honestly. Using these important ultimates, not really getting anything out of it. It felt like they were more response ultimates. Get off me ultimates, which is not what you should be doing when you have an ult advantage going into a fight.
Pressuring to back up and get picked out. Moving on to third. What New Haven was looking to see, and it looks like a late stagger maybe onto Kami as she tries to get out. Side allowing New Haven to take a fight. Coming out blocked by Winton and healed.
Barrier is splintering.
On to Bob Matthew. Allowing them to secure a couple more kills. That was
Yeah, I think
all
the
over the place.
third point can be better from here. I think between Kami, between Winton, they just got a little confused on how to use that second high ground. Just really separated there. I think this is going to be better for them. Just
You
quick
are
hallway.
greeted.
Keep them in line with each other.
Yeah. Now, New Haven is but Purdue is going to be able to quickly gain there.
Proclaiming a barrier.
Helden sterben nicht.
Push in, and we have a Frankie spray here going in on Slasher. Slasher gets the nade off, and the kill. I should mention. Now with that, he gets the don't fight the vendetta again and lives. And Juice and EMP coming in, but he dies eventually. And in return, Purdue is pushing up quickly with Ramon's ult. Sigma ult looking to stop the work. Another block survives with that
Barrier initialized.
Take out.
Wow. I mean, I don't even know where to start with that last one. You see the dives going on a Slasher in the high ground. One goes down. Vendetta tries to come right next. You see a peel coming out from Sombra, an EMP peel that does eventually get Slasher to go down, but gets them to exchange, so to trade a Vendetta going down later. What I think the big deal is here is sticks. I mean, we see Winton trying to push up, trying to fight against this ulting Ramatra. I genuinely do not know how he stayed alive. I mean, there were multiple times I thought, buddy, you're going in way too far. But somehow he gets the rock.
It looks like we lost your audio there, Kyle, but I agree completely. I was about to say, Winton, it was over for him. But he survives, he comes back,
Intrepid
and he
explorers,
makes it work.
it's time to get to work.
Yeah, and then, I mean, just one last thing. I want to say that orbital ray, I think it was perfect. I mean, they stay alive here,
This city
stay
is
alive just
always
far
so
enough to try and
noisy.
get that counter punch
Why was
going in,
traffic even
initiates with the
invented?
orbital ray, completely wipes out the enemy team. That's the map right there.
Coming into this attack, we're seeing the
You're
same
the one
car
from
coming
Mars.
out of New Haven
Oh,
with a
I'd do
possible
anything to add a
venture
Mars rock
swap
to my
as well.
collection.
Now, we've
When I
seen
return
what
someday,
Denison could do on that
I will
venture
bring you
against
one.
other teams. We'll see if they'll be able to replicate it against a more brawly, sturdy composition from Purdue. On Purdue's side, they're playing this Freya. They're sticking with that Vendetta, but swaps from both supports onto that Moira and Alari. We're seeing a very fast push come out here on the side of New Haven, trying to take control of this point. Winton up and pushing. Robert all-out brawl under the subway.
Collapsing the barrier. Enemy turret.
Genuinely, I don't even know what to say. I mean, we just saw Ramatra get completely run over there. I'm impressed with how that ended up working on attack. We're going to see a Bastion switch on the side of Purdue, and they're going to try to mirror this on the front line side.
5 minutes and 30 seconds. This is amazing in the eyes of New Haven, who has to push this all the way to basically the end of point 3. We have a very quick fight. Purdue opting to take the low ground with the Bastion. That's what's going out. Looking to break that one. Shield on the side of and he comes out on all wow. Getting the pick on a flanking Bastion?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to push the pace here.
In return,
Barrier broken.
not before Winton can take that bot now. Yeah, we're
Back here, though.
Oh. Denison on that flank gets a pick onto the Zenyatta. That's not coming out as well. Getting dangerously low.
The barrier cannot withstand much more.
On the side of the Purdue is a Bastion which goes down in a lone Moira who might just be able to fade out.
Wow, Steven, I don't know about you. I was looking at Dennis that entire time. Gets the pick onto the Bastion, stays in the backside. I don't know where the communication was on the side of Purdue, but once those supports got low, Denison comes in, gets one, supports the other come out, and we're going to see his lap. This is just perfect, what I'm seeing right here. I love the chemistry between the entire team here. They continue to get picks here as they roll out through this third point. I mean, there's going to be some ultimates coming out. We see Bastion coming out from Bananas. I'm not sure what's going to be done to capitalize on it. They're going to try to push here quick, I suppose.
Oh, Winton blocks most of it, but Bastion is now still in spawn because he ulted there. Winton and the remainder of the team taking a lot of damage, having to push back just a little bit. It's going to allow Bastion to come back inside the loop. The fight is up absolutely right again. A huge engage down onto the side. And the remainder of Purdue. This might be it. That will New Haven's game to win.
I mean, we're going to see the final seconds tick down here. The last meters going to 0, and that's going to be the game right there. I think you hit it right on the head there. I don't understand the Bastion ultimate. It's essentially a 4v5 because Bastion's still in spawn. The team just gets to run over. That's the end of the game.
Yeah, that was an amazing attack. It was unstoppable. And even with the changes from the side of Purdue, it wasn't enough. It wasn't.
No. Absolutely not. I mean, we saw a little bit of a switch there from New Haven going to the Venture on the side of Denizen instead of the Sombra. I think it maybe helped put a little bit of pressure on the front line, open up some space for the Sigma to walk through. But essentially, I think it helped really kind of just counteract their Bastion pick on the side of Purdue. Purdue trying to mirror, trying to emulate what gave them so much trouble throughout these last two maps. And we see the pressure coming in from the front line from Denizen. They're just not able to get anything going.
No, they weren't. Let's inform any new viewers who are jumping in what's been going on. We're going to bring up the map pool here. You could see first game going into Lijiang, easily Purdue's game. After that, we were incredibly concerned for New Haven on what that meant for the remainder of the series. But bam, Atlas, New Haven takes it easily in a 3-0. Bam, Midtown, while their defense let Purdue get to point 2, their attack left nothing. I don't know how much faster you could even cap on Midtown. They capped with 4 minutes. Imagine if that went to overtime, trying to hold a team for 4 minutes first point. It is insane. Kyle, this is the game that could win the series for New Haven. What do you think Purdue has to change to make it not?
Well, I mean, I would be a little concerned because Midtown was, I believe, the pick of Purdue, correct? That was a counter pick.
It was.
It really just did not work out for them. We saw some real attacks earlier in our last match. We saw Circuit Royale just get steamrolled, and it still was not to the effect of that Midtown match. Honestly, I was really discouraged by the Bastion pick on the side of Purdue. I think them trying to emulate it, it just didn't seem to work very well whatsoever. I don't know. I mean, I think they've been scatterbrained in their response to this Bastion. I think they really need to do something to stay together as a front line, to maybe siphon their attacks and focus them onto one person, rather than just running around with their heads cut off, like as if they've never seen a Bastion before.
I would agree. Now, going into this next map, Purdue is selecting Esperanza and banning that Bastion, the thing that held them back for potentially that entire map.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I really do like this because Purdue, with that Bastion out of the way, I really did enjoy what I saw throughout most of that first map. Lijiang Tower, a little bit of Atlas I enjoyed. I think they're probably going to end up going back to their home grounds. I'm interested to hear on the side of New Haven what Kami is going to end up playing, because I didn't love that Mei pick. I think she was very comfortable on that Bastion. I wonder if she's going to go back to the Mei play. Wait. But I think we're about to find out.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what the band coming out of New Haven is. They're not going to be able to play Bastion. They might switch back to the May. I wouldn't like to see it. But really, who are they going to ban to empower whichever comp they go with? And they decide it's Ramatra. They didn't like what they saw on that first map, Lijiang, playing against that Ramatra, and they are banning it. Kyle, what are you expecting to see with that ban come in? How will that affect Purdue?
I think it's a good pick. Honestly, I do. I think they had a lot of trouble playing against that Ramatra, especially on that first point. Without the Bastion, I think they really haven't shown an answer for that Ramatra. I think as a team, and both the tank himself, Winton, I just didn't love what I saw against it. I think Winton Sigma, Winston maybe going on to like a dominant if that's something he's interested in. If we're gonna go down that poke route, I think I like the matchup against somebody other than what I've seen from Purdue's Ramatra here.
And thinking about individual value coming out of the Purdue side, that Ramatra, I would argue, is doing arguably the most. Now, it's easy to do when you're a tank, but still providing so much sustain on the Ramatra. And with that ban, we're going to have to see them try something else. Have we seen anything else out of Purdue? I believe we saw the Sigma at one point, but
I want to say that, yes.
we're going to see. We're going to see how they adapt.
Esperanza.
And we're moving into Esperanza. In about 30 seconds, we're going to see exactly what both teams adapt to.
Well, we got Easton Doofus pick. That is fascinating. I wonder if they're going to stick to that. But honestly,
A
everything I've
better
seen
world
so
is
far in that
possible
early
today.
going
Prepare for battle.
shocks me.
Select your hero.
It's confirmed, but so far it looks like New Haven's going to go to the dive. I saw a Mizuki. Yeah, I mean, I wonder here. Esperanza, I think, is a very different map than what we've seen from the last maps before. Maybe closest to like an Atlas or something. But overall, this might be where we first see the dive come out.
Yeah, on this push map, it's going to be fast. In about 5 seconds, we're going to see who they're going with and see if they want to play fast, if they want to play slow. I'm assuming both teams are going to want to play dive here.
I'm the
And
last
I
ring
am
of the
off a little bit on the Purdue side.
Here's
opting
another
for
one.
a
What
Junker
sickness do
Queen
pilots
composition.
usually get?
I love this.
Oh,
I think
I
even
see.
if Bastion
The
wasn't banned,
flu.
this is the composition
that was a
that could
pretty
have
good
broken
one.
through that Sigma Bastion. The Junker Queen, the Lucio, the
5,
Zen Orb, the
4,
Reaper,
3,
huge amounts of damage. Now,
1.
on the return side,
Objective
going
unlocks
for a
in 30
Winston
seconds.
dive with some Ash damage. Tommy on the Ash, looking for those long-range backup picks. This is going to be interesting. The win condition for New Haven is to spread out Purdue and get some good dives in. And go for that. And the dive on that online. But he should do well. Finally, he barely makes it out alive. Looks like he's getting ready for the second dive here. But Purdue playing well, keeping Dennison away from that flank and pressure out. And now New Haven is in a bad position. Winton down, no trouble, having to take a second. Purdue not taking this advantage though.
Queen one,
Queen
Queen one.
punished. They do, and with no tank on the side of Purdue, this should be an easy dive. But Winton taking some bad pathing there, out of his Anna's line of sight, going down, and Bot Matthew gets another onto Denizen, who's trying to confirm that kill. Back and forth, the game goes towards Purdue in this first fight.
Gosh, I mean, I saw so much I liked out of Purdue on preventing that anti-dive. I think that kill on Denizen would have been huge. I don't know how Denizen gets out of there. But
Hello
once
there.
they force off that dive, I didn't really love what I saw. I mean, you're trying to run this Junker Queen low heal, sustain, just complete rush comp. You gotta rush. You can't take your time on that.
You get forward spawn here. Came back out, looking to regroup with his team. Purdue a little bit split now. Zen in the far back. The fight is beginning, and it is an all-out brawl here. Damage coming in from the side of New Haven, as Purdue is basically missing two members here. Another great nade coming out, and Pulse Bomb confirming a second kill. They try and transit in return, and Banana
I mean, honestly, I feel bad for Todd Matthews. He just got completely lit up at the end there. I've never seen someone's health bar go so far down so quickly. Once that Reaper vanishes, I mean, it's just all food for Winton right there. He's just going to stay on the point, completely walk over everybody on Purdue's side. I don't know. I mean, sometimes fights just don't go your way. They don't start how you want them to.
And he gets an in with possession of Slasher able to get the on run that was in their backline, and this is a battle of two supports against the Junker Queen.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams are probably just going to stall it out here, wait for backup. I think Junker Queen's going to try and take a little bit of support. She's got the ultimates on her team's side. We're going to see if she's going to be able to use them. She's probably gearing up for a Junker Queen ultimate right now.
Hawthorne goes out, takes out Mercy Eagle, and is able to open this battle up for New Haven. Dynasty coming in with a crazy Lucio play and is punished for it. Now, as long as New Haven plays together, slowly pushes them out, everything will go their way. This is perfect. Purdue
There's always room
here, pushed
for
up
self-improvement.
It
Robot
looks like
needs
they might be able
exfil.
to get another
Let's
one.
stick with it.
There's an enemy here.
Goes in for a crazy gets found out by
Open up,
New Haven.
everyone.
With
Heads
that
up.
pick, that
Disrupting.
should secure this first checkpoint for New Haven.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you have an ult disadvantage here, we're going to see if they we still got 3 on the board here, right here.
It's already down here. Dynasty taking a lot of damage here. Reaper, second, Kitty TG getting melted on that point, and everyone on New Haven able to sustain and hold through that battle.
Right, I mean, what I was trying to say before that last fight there, you know, when you've got an ult disadvantage, you got to try to find a way to open it. Start it how you want. I thought that Denizen Pulse Bomb was very important to opening that up right there. I want to commend both the support lines for staving off this on-run as long as they have.
With that Junker Queen anti and with the shields to protect them, they wipe New Haven. Now, I don't think that is necessarily that bad. They didn't use too many ults there, only Juno ult, so they could come into this next battle with a lot of weapons in the arsenal. But at the same time, Purdue really didn't use that much either. They have Reaper ult and Zen ult to hold combat everything that you goes away with the Zen ult and have a lot of defensive power there.
Pick it up.
With the
We're about to lose
battle is
You're
beginning. Nano jumps
Let's stop them in their tracks. Touching down.
That's devastating. You see that anti with the force trans. You would imagine that the Nano Winston would be able to capitalize on that anti, but just the way everything was set up, wasn't able to do anything in time. We had some picks from the outside to do side.
Is able to push onto the point and get a pick on the enemy Zenyatta in return with Primal. He's able to sustain and push up. Thought Matthew looks like he was going for it. All in the back. And wow! Right here, we could be going to map 5 for a second series today.
I mean, you gotta use these ults. You gotta shut them down right here, right now. If I'm Purdue, they immediately get a pick on Kami. That's gonna open up so much for their team.
Time for the reckoning!
One more
Why
chance
ask
to stop
questions
this
when
fight.
you can
They
just
only
obey?
have the Juno up here, might be able to farm a Tracer Pulse, but still they have Zen ult on the side of Purdue. Battle is beginning. Denison is everything they need to clean this up. It looks like we will be going to a game 5. Pulse bomb shot out, gets nothing. Denison moving hard to kill, getting the time for maybe a couple respawns. They're pushing the barricade. Gets booped off, and the boop confirms map 4 for Purdue. Wow. Oh my god.
Gosh, I mean, where do I even
Play
start?
of the game.
I love this new look of Purdue. I really do. I think even in maybe a little bit of a not super.
Time for the reckoning!
I really think they improved. I think they proved that they can switch onto other things as a team. Maybe this is the Bastion killer right here because they're not gonna have the Bastion ban, and going into map 5, that might prove pivotal.
It really might. And I'll note, we said exactly what we needed to see from Purdue there to go against that dive, against that Winston comp, and I saw it. They stuck together so well. Moving into the second half of the game, they were a little bit more disorganized, a couple more flanks coming out from the Onron and Reaper, but especially those first couple fights where they were building that momentum, building that alt bank. They were playing so tight and punishing Winton for every single dive he came into. And again, I'll say, even if they didn't ban Bastion there, I think that comp works against it. And I hope if they don't ban Bastion going into this next match, they think about that and they try that one out.
Are we going to be going on to Shambali Monastery here?
It looks like they will. This is New Haven's pick. And they just swapped to it. Yep, they're going to be going to Shambali Monastery and banning the Reaper there. They obviously thought that the Reaper was doing a lot. Now he was keeping the pressure up on the Winton, on him playing Winston, not allowing him to get those dives. But Shambali Monastery is a completely different beast here. This isn't push. This is a long-range fight. I think that ban could have been used in other ways.
I'm going to have to agree with you here. I mean, I mean, maybe they're looking to keep the dive up and keep this Reaper off of Winton on Winston. It's going to be hard on a map like Shambali Monastery, a very long range, long hallway, kind of Sigma dominant type of map, in my opinion. I don't know here. I mean, in my opinion, I thought the Reaper was good in that last fight. I don't really think any one player on their team like shined enough to pick out a ban, in my opinion.
I would agree. That's why I was a little hesitant when I saw that came out, just in terms of that. The comp really is what drove them to victory there on the Purdue side. The Junker Queen, the Reaper, the Zen, they had the damage. And again, I'll say it, going into Shambali, long range. You don't want to play dive on this map. You can, but I think going back to that poke Bastion is exactly what they need. Now, I don't know if they could ban characters back to back, but a Bastion ban here is what I need to see out of Purdue. And if not, it might be what New Haven needs to regain that momentum they had and close this out. Another very close series here.
Well, it's important to mention for Purdue, they get their Ramatra back. It seems like that was their bread and butter for a while. I'm not sure if they're going to end up playing it. This is, I think, a great map for Ramatra. Maybe they choose a Domina or a Sigma instead. But I think they're going to be a little bit in their comfort zone here, depending on this Bastion.
Yeah, I would agree. Great map for Ramatra. Great map for Bastion at this rank. And wow, they're going for the Ana ban. Now, Kyle, you disagreed with me earlier when I said they banned Kiriko because Slasher was popping off. How can you disagree now after they're banning
look.
Ana when they had great nades? Slasher had great nades that entire map.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really get many chances to mention it, but it's true. It is absolutely true. The on-run had a ton of
He hates to admit
chances
it.
there to go in the back, really just distract the enemy team, and I just saw her get naded every time. I
Yeah.
think Styx and Slasher did a tremendous job of supporting each other. I think Slasher just on top of it with the nades there. Maybe that's what the issue is. Although, honestly, I don't really understand how that situation is going to come up much in a map like this.
Yeah, Ana is definitely good here. A lot of long range, so she can take some good angles. Personally, I think it's a bit hard to get good damage out on Ana here, just because you're playing a lot of tight corners. But the nade was so impactful last game that they said we can't have it. Purdue cannot have that happen again. Now we got about 5 seconds before we're gonna see what these teams are gonna be playing. Let's check it out. Wow. This is it. Purdue basically just handed New Haven the comp that dominated them for 2 maps.
I mean, we're gonna see New Haven go on a defense here. I think this is a pivotal defense. I think this is really kind of the knife in the chest here. This is the dagger. If they use this Bastion and really, really use it to their advantage, especially on this very first long sight hold, I don't see how Purdue moves forward after that.
It has to be the first point, because second point, many more flanking routes for their Hanzo, for their on-run, to really take control of the battle. Now they're opening up with that Ramatra. And wow, Bot Matthew again opening the fight up with
The barrier appears.
Styx and on-run.
That barrier has been overwhelmed.
Of New Haven. We're gonna see how just this plays out. It's only one person to try to produce. Know the balance is their weakness. Will it be enough? Or perhaps very slow. Playing very slow on launch. Down by Tommy. All out. Walks up right behind them.
Barrier is nearly spent. I require healing. My barrier is gone. Enemy.
The Bastion is all the way away from the Sigma, but the picks are coming in. They can't handle the
To get past this first point, if you are Purdue, to get the opening pick, but unfortunately, Anran is really the only one on their team with the tempo, with the movement to really be able to push on it on their high ground. By the time that she gets there, everyone's already set up, and they just save it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And this on-run, Bananas that's looking for these flanks. I would say making a fair amount of space, but not really doing what I need to see because of the fortitude of New Haven. Now, Tommy taking the low ground. I'm not a fan of it. The focus coming up with a lot of damage. Bananas going in once again and gets picked. That is the 3rd time they tried to take that high ground, and the 3rd time they have been punished for it.
I just don't understand, honestly. I mean, that's not even
A
on the
threat
high ground.
emerged. I've observed
Setting Anran
movement in the
by
payload.
like 1, 2, 3, the rest of the team.
It's brutal. And this is going to cause Purdue to take a second, try and back up. Bananas Zest looking for some damage in, taking some focus from the left, taking a bit of damage themselves. And now it looks like Purdue is just running it down mid once again, seeing a 3rd time is the charm.
I mean, we're going to have a ton of ultras coming in here. Maybe they're being played for it, but Ramatra's going to be all alone. Kim's going to calm him down.
With the big dragon.
An unwanted barrier.
What?
Observe movement in the payload.
New Haven now has everything they need to hold this. Lincoln taking a walk around to go back towards the rest of his team. Kitty, TG running in the middle, nowhere in the back. Rush comes out with a
And just not even a ton of ultimates coming out on the side of New Haven. They still have 3 to play with. Gosh, I mean, I just really, I don't understand what the game plan is in terms of how they're doing these rotations. Ramontra's all alone, gets gunned down. I don't know. I don't see what their objective is.
From New Haven.
Well, I mean, it's just an amazing genesis, but these are the kind of points that's going to keep you up at night. You still have 3 ultimates on the side of Purdue, just running it down main every single time. Even when you have the Bastion on the low ground, I don't know. I really, I don't know if it's a map 5 pressure thing. I think maybe they all need to take a little bit of a deep breath going into this last hold. I mean, at least they got it around the bend. They have some objective to try and hold here, but it's just going to be tough.
So tough. The second that EMP went out, it was over. And you know, even if they knew it was coming, it's hard to find out about that, especially when you're going through that small space, right? In a perfect world, they should probably hit that Ramatra alt button the second they see any of those enemies and rush it down with even maybe Trank, right? If they know they have EMP, you have to send it or go in a more open type of space. That was hard, and this is going to set New Haven up for this map 5 win. Now, you can't say it's over till it's over. We're seeing a very interesting ult coming out of Purdue. I hope this isn't something where they're just saying, well, now I'm just going to play whatever I want. It is a viable comp. A lot of damage coming out here from the Freya and the Soldier, and a lot of sustain from the Kitty TG. But Bastion should be able to deal with this, especially if they stick together and use that safe shield. We're moving into this first fight here. Poke coming out for the point. Dennison looking for that flank, gets in stealth, and is going to try and flank them. New Haven deciding to stick together. We are going to brawl this like men, pushing up to the high ground. And it could be over. And it comes out.
Barrier is nearly spent.
I think they just start saying their goodbyes right now.
I mean, one speed gauge just completely allows them to walk all over Orisa there.
Stick with the payload.
I'm not sure what the objective was. We're going to see maybe one last touch. They did get it around that other bend. I think they're going to have one last chance here.
They will. They opt to all go together on the high ground instead of pushing the point. There will be one more fight. Still, no ultimate. Great battle. Purdue deciding to move fast. Army getting kicked out though with a lot of damage. Support of New Haven. And it looks like that the damage is coming out on the side of New Haven. Taking a lot as well.
Barrier cannot withstand much more.
It is tight.
An enemy appeared. There is no shame in collaboration.
Secures that line and takes this series
Victory.
win.
Appears.
Goodness me, I mean, that last fight was intense. We saw both tanks taking
the game.
so much pressure on that gate, on that choke. Both somehow staying alive. I think Winston ended up getting pushed forward. Got caught on the architecture. If he gets killed there, I think that's a whole reset for the rest of the team. But unfortunately, he stays alive. He gets out, and that's going to end up spelling the end there. The Bastion just completely gunning down the Orisa ultimate. That's going to spell the end. Bastion going to be the key to this victory here.
It was. And then looking back at this map pool, you'll see as it updates in just one moment, it truly was a back and forth. It was a good series throughout. And honestly, I think that they just got, New Haven got their way. They figured out what works, and Purdue could not adapt.
I mean, I'd have to full-handedly agree with you on that one. I think, they have their composition. And it ended up really, really working out for them. I think it was the best regarding what we mentioned at the start. The key to their success is going to be the front line and how they stay together. I think there were some times maybe they did split apart, sometimes to their benefit. But I think that's what's going to keep the front line all in key there is that Bastion, that Sombra sometimes going on to that Venture or some other character, and that Sigma, Ramatra, the like.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be getting a member of New Haven in here for a interview. We'll be getting that momentarily as they all get set up. Kyle, give me your highlights of not just that series, but today as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be the Bastion here. That's just how it is. I think that Kami did a great job putting a ton of pressure on. I think Winton also did a tremendous job of taking that looks away, taking all that pressure off of the Bastion, allowing Kami to take all these angles, put a ton of pressure on. Yeah, I mean, you saw Purdue was comfortable with the Ramatra. Bastion just completely gunned it down, completely shut it down. That's going to be my MVP of the match.
Yeah. What about this first series?